Now we go to the NFC. One of I have an over and an under bet in the same division. So Eagles 11.5, that's about right. I'm going to take the over on the Commanders and the under on the Cowboys. So listen, Jaden Daniels is the real deal. I just talked to somebody, a friend, who was at an event Jaden Daniels was at in the last couple of weeks. The kid's unbelievable. They spent money, the coaching, 9.5. I mean, they're going to go 2-0 against the Cowboys and 2-0 against the Giants. So I think the Commanders is, 10-7 with the Lamar Jackson of the NFC at quarterback. Shock anybody? Also, the Cowboys, I would bet the under. I don't think anybody's quite embracing. Brian Schottenheimer, to me, had struggled to remain at the same place as a coordinator. I think they went cheap. They also got to pay Micah. Again, this is a team that's a CeeDee Lamb sprained ankle from, being fairly weaponless. I would take the under.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the Eagles here. He obviously still believes that the Eagles are going to win the division. It seems like all the divisional teams pretty much are flirting with like 11.5. Like I don't know if there's many over-unders that are above 11.5. I know the Chiefs were 11.5. The Texans don't count because that's a poverty division. But yeah, so it's it's putting the Eagles still very much at the top then, right? As like an actual legitimate top team in the NFL. When you look at what the Bills are projected to do, the Ravens are projected, it's all 11.5. And so when you're at 11.5 and that's what's projected for all the other top teams, like it's hard to really argue with that at that point where you're like, 11.5 is too low. Like they're definitely going to win 13, 14 games or something like that. They obviously are going to have an incredibly hard schedule, being the Super Bowl winners, first place schedule. And so then it really comes down to me is what do the Commanders, Cowboys, and Giants games look like? I think the Giants can actually win some games with Russell Wilson. I really, really do. But do I think that they could beat the Eagles? Do I think that Russ can go into Philly and win a game there? And it's like, no, right? I just that I fail to see. I think the Cowboys for the Eagles will always be the Cowboys, right? Like they always find ways to make those games competitive, very much like the Raiders. No matter who their quarterback is, no matter who their coach is, often those games could be competitive with like the Chiefs or something. So I think that's very much, excuse me, sneezing on the truth. I think that'll very much still remain the same with the Eagles, as long as like Dak Prescott is actually the quarterback and it's not anyone else. But I don't think that the Cowboys are going to be like this sneaky like top team either. But I could still see the Eagles splitting with the Commanders, splitting with the Cowboys, and then going 2-0 against the Giants, and because it's just like that's just the way those things go. And I do think that the Commanders have gotten better and they'll take a step forward. And I think there's going to be an imbalance of intensity for the Commanders. Like they're going to want such revenge, redemption. They want to prove, like a lot of Commanders fans were pretty much like, oh, we had you beat. If it wasn't for our fumbles, we would have won. And it's like, if it wasn't for the fact that the Eagles had just a suffocating defense and was just opportunistic and was just an avalanche on you and kept Jaden Daniels bottled up. Yeah, I guess if none of those things happened, then sure, you beat them, I guess so. But they were 7 for 7 in the red zone, which has nothing to do with turnovers because that's on your defense, that's on your red zone defense, and they hung 55 points. So you can cry about the fumbles all you want, but you're deluding yourself in that regard. But yes, if they didn't have those fumbles, would have the game been closer? Undeniably. Were the Eagles still shown to be the better team? Yes, undeniably. But I do think the Commanders, I think it's fair to say that you could see a world where the Eagles take an ever so slightly step back because they were absolutely dominant, right? They set the record, 95 points in the final two games, NFC Championship game, Super Bowl. Like, we saw how dominant they were. When you reach such high levels, you just can't expect to repeat that. Are we expecting Saquon Barkley to break another record? You just can't expect that to be the case. So it's not hard to imagine. And again, if the Eagles were at 100% last year, it's not to say that they're going to drop down to 70 or something, but like, it's not hard to imagine that they at least drop to 98, right? That they at least drop down a point or two. And if you think that the Commanders were at 80 last year, it's fair to say that, they're going to go up to like 85 or 90 or something. So I imagine those games being pretty competitive. You'll have to see if Jaden Daniels has any type of sophomore slump issues. I'm not predicting that, especially because so much of his game relies on some mobility. So even if he was kind of having a few issues here and there, I think his level of athleticism and mobility would be enough to kind of really sweep any of those issues under the rug. But I also just think, Jaden Daniels is a true high level player. So I'm not expecting any easy wins there. And I just think that they're going to have such a level of intense of this revenge, wanting to prove that like they're actually the better team or this or that. And the Eagles have nothing to prove. And so the Eagles will have to find ways for them to be reignited, for them to be kind of like, all right, we're trying to repeat here. We're trying to win another Super Bowl. This is what we're after. And what's really cool is that, a lot of the leaders of the team, a lot of the big guys, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae, like, we know that that's what they want. Like, literally before the Super Bowl was even over, when there was like a couple minutes left, they were like, we want to win more. Like, they weren't even celebrating the current Super Bowl win. They were like, we are after more. AJ Brown is like, yeah, it was great. The high from winning lasted like all of 2 days. I live for the grind. I live for the games themselves. Let's get after it. Though that people tried to act like that was a bad thing to say, it was the best. If you're an Eagles fan, that should pump you up and fire you up and excite you. We know Jordan Mailata just loves to just dominate. I mean, like, he's literally, giving out Batman, like Dark Knight quotes and stuff or whatever. Like, like he just wants to just impose his will on everyone. So, and you have to imagine that players like Cooper DeJean, Mitchell, etc., like, they're going to continue to get better. And now you're having another year of continuity with Fangio and stuff. So I just think that you're still have a lot of runway for momentum building. The big question mark is the coordinator. That's obvious. I think it's important that the Eagles get off to a consistent, grounded start. You don't want to be in a position where you're troubleshooting earlier on in the season with a new coordinator. I think that could be kind of frustrating, problematic, and just something that you just don't want to have to deal with. So I think getting some momentum, getting some wins, not having this offense feel like you're kind of stuck in mud, and having to try to troubleshoot in week 3 and week 4 with a brand new coordinator. I just think that's just it's a harder thing to be able to do successfully. And I do think that the Eagles absolutely have to nail the draft. If they can nail the draft in a way like they did last year, then the immediate Super Bowl window of the way how this team is presently constructed, it's like they will be without like a shadow of a doubt, like a true bona fide front-running top Super Bowl contender, like undeniable for the next like 2-3 years. Like, just like it just book it. They in this draft right here, they get another 2, like, again, they find their other Cooper DeJean and Mitchell and just knock it out of the park. Boom. Because the way how you're going to have to pay someone like Carter, etc., and the way how you already have some of these other contracts already set up, it's just like the balance of the young and up and coming players, the players who you're going to have to now start to pay, as well as the guys who are in their prime, but like they only have so many. AJ Brown's like, I'm not saying that AJ Brown's like right about to teeter, but like, he doesn't have 8 great years left in him, right? Like, so it's like, this is now, like, this is the time, and like, unfortunately, how the NFL works, like, if you told me within the next couple of years that someone like a Devontae gets banged up a lot, like he's out for the season one of these years, and then he's gonna have to come back. Like, we know those things happen. So if you nail this pick right now, these next couple of picks, you nail them, you hit it out of the park, like you did last season, really the last couple of seasons. This Super Bowl window, this immediate, we just won the Super Bowl right now. Now let's keep going. Like, this immediate window is like guaranteed 2-3 years. Fangio's not moving anywhere because he's not going to be like, okay, I'm ready to retire. Like, he'll still be there. He'll still see the potential. Other talent will still want to be there. Free agents will want to be there. Like, it'll be like the core of it. If they kind of mess up a draft pick or it just doesn't pan out very well, they're still going to be a top contender. They'll still be great. They can still be there. But like, to me, it's just like, the stakes for the draft are just like, again, it's a difference between going back to back and just being like, yeah, they won the Super Bowl and they made it to the divisional round. You can't win every year. Like, there's just different levels of that. So and when you got to pay players, like, you got to pay players. And when you got some big contracts coming up, you know, you got to do what you got to do. So really, really, really nailing the draft, because I don't know if Howie Roseman would be in another position where he could be like, okay, let me go buy another Saquon Barkley or another A.J. Brown. Like, you're really going to be more reliant on the draft, more so than they were when first constructing some of these pieces. I also think that if you can win another Super Bowl before Jalen Hurts is up for another contract, I am so positive that he will take a true discount. That he will be like, I'm going for the GOAT, yo. Like, I've been to 3 Super Bowls now. I won 2. You can see in 3 Super Bowls, I am top 3 in quarterback stats. Like, I already got 2. I got 2 MVPs. Like, I am going for it. You guys all talk about Patrick Mahomes winning all the Super Bowls. Well, I got 2. Let's do it. Like, I could see him taking a more favorable deal, right? That's just the way how I see it. When quarterbacks win early and win, especially a couple, they want to keep winning. They understand how it goes. Jalen Hurts is obviously a team player. Got a great head on his shoulders. He's already made a ton of money. I could see him not trying to break the bank. Even if they don't win, I could see him still taking a more favorable deal, because he understands what Philly offers him undeniably. But I still think, though, if they win another Super Bowl within the next couple of years before it's really time for him to kind of get a new contract, he will not try to just get max dollar, which would then obviously be massive for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think those things matter. And yeah, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are in a great place. But to me, it really, really, really comes down to the draft, more so than a lot of these other teams, because of where the Eagles are at with all of their current contracts, the amount of youth that they have, and the fact that they literally obviously just won their Super Bowl. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles being favored to be, again, when you look at all the over-unders, they're already projected to be top team in the NFL. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.